show, but the pain still grows. Some strangers to you and me.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to DFS Advisor, week 3 for us on the show. Got my co-host Jay back off of work. Glad to have you back, Jay. How was your work travels?
Vegas was Vegas. Tried to stay out of trouble as much as possible. Did a terrible job. Did a little bit of gambling. Did a little bit of work. I had a good time.
All right, real good. The show is brought to you guys by Inner Circle Entertainment. It's sponsored by Premier Properties. I always want to say thank you to Steve and Nikki for everything they do for the show and helping us grow and backing us financially, backing us legally, and just helping us out, letting us tap into their resources and growing the show. So tonight we got a few things to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about some other sporting events that are happening other than just football. I know we're getting ready for the World Series. It looks like it's going to be the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. It looks like Toronto made pretty good quick work of the Mariners. I didn't think that was going to happen like that. And but anyway, so the World Series is popping. We had the NBA kickoff last night. I know I'm in a couple basketball leagues. They were kind of fun drafting. I've never had a whole lot of basketball leagues. I used to do a lot of DFS stuff. This year I kind of got involved with some basketball leagues with some friends. So some young kids at work talked me into it because I always was pushing my fantasy football stuff with them, got them involved in fantasy football. So they kind of made the old man do some basketball. So that's been fun. In fact, I got a draft running tonight too, one that we didn't quite finish in time, but we're going to wrap that up. And then we also got going on the NASCAR stuff. Looks like Briscoe won that Talladega event, so that makes another Gibbs car in the chase out there at Phoenix. Denny Hamlin's already locked in. Briscoe's locked in now. They're off to Martinsville this week. Martinsville's always been real good for the Hendrick guys. I look for Elliott to have a good race there. He's been kind of struggling. It's usually a Denny Hamlin, shootout there too. So maybe one of these other guys that aren't locked in can still get locked in with a win at Martinsville, taking it out to Phoenix. So the NASCAR stuff is getting wrapped up also. I know that we have had a lot of talk about college football on the show recently, and it's kind of a deal that Jay and I both are involved in, our Devy leagues. There's going to be a lot of Devy League talk on this show, a lot of college football talk on this show. We both love college football. We're going to start bringing that to you guys in a little bit bigger portion size as we go forward instead of just all NFL. We're going to try to touch a little bit on everything in sports on the show. And so tonight we're going to kick it off, and Jay's going to get started. And we're going to talk about college football. We're going to talk about the rankings. We're going to talk about, the playoff ranking. They're going to start talking about where these guys are seated as they go. That's going to become a media talk in the mainstream media. Heisman's going to start talk. Heisman talk's going to start. And so take it away, Joe or Jay. Sorry about that, buddy.
Yeah, no worries, man. I think, college football this year has been very, very interesting. I think for me, we look at the rankings. It's, you see your traditional guys up there, but then you see the Hoosiers. They actually had a really, really good win this week. And, I think what's really interesting is Fernando Mendoza right now. Like he's somebody who if you were in the circles, you kind of thought he had a really good opportunity based off of what that team did last year as far as the offense that they were able to do. But, they've really, really taken off right now. They're actually beating quality teams, getting some really quality wins where last year it felt like they were pretenders. This year feels like they may have an opportunity to really do something because they have a really strong wide receiver core, strong quarterback. So I think they're definitely doing some things. Ohio State's still Ohio State. Not a secret, but Julian Sane is my dark horse for the Heisman this year, Jimbo. So, I think, right now he's 80% efficiency as far as his completion percentage, which is incredible. And I think what was, for me personally, I've been on him since, the first game of this, when they played Texas, because I saw the hype for Arch Manning, but then I saw, his ability to be – he didn't have a phenomenal game by any stretch of the imagination because it was his first big career start. But he was super poised, made every big throw that they asked him to make, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes, and the moment wasn't too big for him. And when people were kind of poo-pooing on that effort, I thought he has some potential, and he's actually doing a really good job right now. So I think there's some really good teams, on the board here. It's unfortunate that Miami lost last week to Louisville, but Jimbo, I did tell you about my guy Malachi Tony. They talk about now he's one of the best wide receivers in the nation. So I'm just saying, if
you've been talking about him all along, and
I'm just saying
he's right there. He's right there. I'm surprised at Indiana. Where they're ranked at in this. Georgia had a great game against Ole Miss. That was a great football game to watch. Oregon's been kind of staying pretty steady in all this and climbing. Georgia Tech. I mean, you got to kind of watch them guys, man. They're sneaking up in this. And, of course, I got my, Florida Bulls down there. They clicked up one tick. And another one that I was surprised to see in there, Cincinnati. And Auburn, I think Auburn's laying around down in there somewhere, ain't they?
No, they're falling off the map. They're gone.
Who's this one down there in just above Michigan there?
But that's LSU, which I think.
Oh, it's LSU. Now LSU got beat.
Yeah, they're going to be gone too. I think they have a big game this week as well. So there's a lot of some good games that are coming up this week, and I think LSU is definitely a pretender on this list. Think who else I think is some track.
That Vanderbilt game was nice.
Vanderbilt, yeah, because they lost to Vandy, and I just think there's some pretenders here, but I think as the dust, Texas, I still think they're pretenders. I've never been an arch believer, no. So
you think Vandy could jump up in the top 5?
That's a stretch. I think they'll make the tournament for sure. I think they'll make the tournament. I think if they can, because they're playing a tough division. They're one of the top teams. So I think it's just going to be dependent on kind of what they do in conference play. But I think they got a shot, which is more than you could say about them any other season that's been in the past.
Nobody's given Notre Dame any credit. I love the Notre Dame coach. I think he's going to be a good pro coach.
Yeah, no, he's solid because I think he always has a great defense. If you could lay your hat on your defensive team, I think you're always going to have a shot. I just think their lack of explosion behind, except for their running back core, I think that's for me what causes a little bit of concern, just because if you put up points on them, I just don't think they'll be able to catch you just based off the talent that they have on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Love. I look for Love to do some damage in there and keep running the football like he's been. He's been doing pretty good. What do you think about Texas A&M?
Texas A&M has been really, really good this year. I think they got a really good quarterback who's also in the conversations for the Heisman as well. They have a solid wide receiver core, which we knew. We knew about Kevin Concepcion, Boosie and some other guys. But I think they've been able to pull it together this year. And it was questionable because they had losing Connor, which that was intentional, but you just didn't know what the young quarterback had in him. But they've been able to play some really, really good games. Again, haven't faced the competition. I think I got to double check. I think they're playing LSU this week. I'm not 100% sure, but they have to, once they start getting into some good games, and they just play who's in front of them. But I think once they start getting some more challenging competition, we'll be able to see what they're made of. And
I see my college team hanging around down there in 13th. They ain't doing too bad, Oklahoma.
No. And like I said, they got one of the top quarterbacks for me coming out of 26, which doesn't really give me a lot of confidence. No offense, in the class, but John Mateer, although he came back from an injury early, I do think once he settles back in and gets a little bit more healthier, that team's definitely going to be something to force me record moving forward as well.
And last of all on this list for me, what are you thinking about Missouri?
I like Missouri. Love their running back. I think they like to sling that thing around, man. So I think I don't really think they're gonna be. I'd be surprised if they make the tournament, but they're a fun team to watch for sure. And they got some young quarterback coming as well. Like they got some good. They're building on something, I think, which is going to be pretty cool to watch. But I don't think this is going to be their year, but I think they're setting themselves up for a strong 27.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you talk to us a little bit about Debbie. You want to talk some Debbie? There you go.
Yeah, man. We were talking, and I was just like, I'm not really feeling it right now. I mean, I'm not feeling. I mean, I know we got our guys. We got Lenora Sellers, you got Dante Moore. We mentioned Fernando Mendoza. You have Sam Levitt, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, which you talked about. Like let's just start with the quarterbacks. I don't know. Like I'm not excited. As we go from the end of the college season into rookie drafts in the spring. I'm not excited to take maybe Dante Moore. Maybe it depends on how he plays and if he even comes out because this is his first full years of starter because he got benched at UCLA. But I think that's what I don't have the excitement. Like I'm not excited to draft anybody right now. And like, I haven't seen anybody be like, man, like I'm excited to if you're stinking in your dynasty leagues, you're like, all right, at least last year, Ashton Jenkins, he was, you know what I mean? You had some players that you were like, okay, this is what I'm losing, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
So you're dumping your 26 picks and getting rid of them. You don't care, right?
Yeah, I may. I mean, I'm just not. I don't know. I don't feel like any of these guys. I don't think I could sit here and be like, I would take any of these guys at the 101. And I think like Lenora Sellers was my guy going into the season. Like my guy. Like I have so many shares of Lenora Sellers across the board. He looked like trash, and he scares me because I don't know if he's like Anthony Richardson 2.0. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like physical gifts, but not able to like put it together as far as like between the lines and up here in order to make the plays that is going to make a difference in some games. Because at that next level, everybody's ultra talented. So you got to be able to not only be like physically gifted, but make a lot of plays. So I'm not excited about the quarterbacks coming out this next year.
So do you think this coming draft year for the NFL side of things, do you think these guys is their year to say, okay, hell with it, we're gonna beef up our defense and not really? You think they're gonna kind of just coast with what they got offensively and try to put most of their stock in defensive players in the first round?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be less because I think it feels like, what was that year where the guy from Pittsburgh who's trash now? Oh my gosh! But it feels like that type of year where you'll see a quarterback go in the 20s. You know what I mean? Like not, there'll be some talent here and there, but it doesn't feel like. I don't think the NFL is going to be excited either. I think you'll see some wide receivers go probably between the teens and the 20s, and then you'll see quarterbacks go in the 20s as well. Because they haven't shown me anything consistently that I could be like, I want to be able to build a franchise around you. You know what I mean? And like, you think about like a Jackson Dart, he went in the 20s, and I don't see any of these guys being a Jackson Dart right now.
Really?
No, absolutely not. I would be very surprised. And again, I don't get paid to evaluate quarterbacks for a living, but if I did, I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm gonna bet mine. Because if you select a quarterback that early, you're betting your whole like career on that they have to hit. You know what I mean? Or you put your job in jeopardy. And I don't know. I don't see any safe bets with these guys coming out.
Yeah, I think the draft is going to be more geared towards defense. Honestly.
Yeah, me as well. Like, because I think you got Sawyer Robertson, the guy I didn't mention, because he's actually leading the nation in passing with over 2,300 yards, 21 pass TDs. But again, he's at Baylor. But again,
who do you think will be the first running back off the?
First running back off the board isn't the question. It's going to be Jeremiah Love. Like I don't see, unless Justice Haynes, because he was injured. But if he comes back and has a strong end to the season. I think as from a talent perspective, I like Justice Haynes. But I think from a hype perspective, it's probably going to be Jeremiah Love just because he's been the guy. And he hasn't really done anything to lose that, in my opinion.
So do you think Love made the right decision by staying another year?
Oh yeah. Because he wasn't going to beat out the top running backs that came out this year. You know what I mean? So I think his best course of action was to stay at school. And like I said, right now, 124 rushing yards, 758 yards. So
do you think he's Heisman material?
No, I don't think any. I don't think any of the. All the crap I talked about. That's why I'm disillusioned with this year, because I think I just talked all this trash about the quarterbacks, and I think that they probably have the best chance to win the Heisman opposed to any of these guys, because nobody's doing anything on a team that's like the running back right now is Cam Cook at Jacksonville State right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of like season that we're dealing with the type of player. So like, I don't think he would do that. I think he may be in the room, but he's a long shot to win the Heisman, in my opinion.
Talk a little bit about your fantasy leagues that you have, your Devy leagues.
Yeah, well, the leagues are pretty cool. Like, so we have in these leagues, we got we how we start off is, we draft our NFL players, but then what we do is we also then draft our Devy players, and we draft around like 8 rounds, I think, the first year, and then we lessen it the years after that. But it's really just and everybody gets to pick a spot, and we start off for the very first year, which kind of also makes it cool, is you get to pick high school players. So we kind of don't limit the pool. Like, if they're in high school, you get to pick them the first year. So you can, if you're that sick as far as like into Devy, you'll be able to identify some college players some high school players, and they could also grow on your team. But the cool thing about the Devy thing is that they basically don't even sit on your bench. They sit on a spreadsheet that we all share, and then we trade them as things happen. But you could trade them for NFL players. You can trade NFL players for Devy players, but it allows you to kind of really have a good team you can start building. But the rookie drafts are very depleted. But you never know. Like, in our leagues before, like we had Jada Daniels. He didn't get picked up. He was available. So you'll have these players that we didn't see coming, and then they have just had like a great final season, and then you're able to get them as well. So you're able to kind of pluck from a lot. I
think in one of your leagues that I'm in, I think I ended up getting Jaden Daniels in the 5th round of a Devy round.
Yeah.
And,
you never know.
Yeah. And so he ended up being on my team. So I was pretty happy with it. That's, to me, the excitement of Devy is knowing that when these guys get to the NFL draft, you're watching on draft night and you're like, hey, yeah, he's mine.
Yeah. And you're rooting for him. you have a vested interest in them, and you watch, because we're probably gonna be wrong 70% of the time. Like, I have a lot of Drew Aller.
Yeah, I think Devy leagues makes the NFL draft more exciting.
Oh, 100%. I'd rather do a Devy league than, because there's some dynasty team like leagues that you which I do kind of like, but that's even more stressful for me. You draft before you do your rookie draft before the NFL draft, but I like the fact that you kind of owned and had these players for their whole career, or a good chunk of their career, and then you're kind of celebrating your success and identifying the talent as they are happy while they get selected for the NFL team.
How are you doing basically in all your other leagues? Are you having a pretty good year?
It's a mixed bag. I'm in a very, very competitive league. I'm in an ESPN league. So like, I play Dan Graziano. I lost to Jeff Saturday like a couple of weeks ago, which like by a couple points, just pissed me off. And then my brother, who works for ESPN, I beat him, which is always that's a must have. And then I play Dan this week, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm fighting. There's a couple of dynasty ones where it's just like I knew it was going to be my year, so we're just kind of like giving away talent. But I think I'm 500 or better in, I would say, like 60% of my leagues right now.
Sweet.
And I'm at 30, so like that's 30 plus, so that's not too bad.
That sounds good.
How you doing, Jimbo, as far as your leagues go?
I'm 50-50. A lot of my dynasty startups this year, I didn't do all that hot in my startups. However, some of my seasoned dynasties are doing very well. A lot of my big dollar leagues, I'm talking, from $100 to $500 buy-in leagues, they're all doing really good, but they're all seasoned and they're 5-6 year leagues. Those are doing really well. Doing pretty good in my best ball stuff. I'm doing so in my /triathlon /gauntlet / whatever it is this week. I'm doing pretty good in those. I'm 50-50. I got some good teams. However, not really going to matter right now because the guillotine part doesn't start till I think week 9 or 10. So we're getting close to that. Depending on how the seeding is in some of those leagues that, they're kind of unique because, it starts out as a redraft, and then around week 9, 10, we do the guillotine part. And then at the end, we do the best ball part. That's a Ballsville exclusive league. So I'm excited for it. It was kind of a pilot run for them this year. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out. I know it drew a lot of excitement during draft time for all of us. We all had a lot of fun drafting those leagues. So we'll see where it goes. I know next year they're making some rule changes with it, and the format's going to change a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. I know a lot of us are excited. And then I'm in a couple bracket leagues that are new to me also, and a couple pirate leagues. Have you done any pirate leagues?
I am in a charity pirate league. It is one of the most stressfulest things that I've ever been a part of.
I think it's fun as hell.
It's
man.
fun, but I was like, there's a lot to lose each week for sure.
Yeah, it was I played a little strategy on my one this week. I ended up losing. I'm actually doing well in that league. I'm like either in first or second. I think I dropped a second now or something. But I lost this week, so I wasn't planning on playing Mbuka because I thought he was going to be hurt, so he was on my bench. Well, then I got JSN, and I saw I was losing the league. And in this pirate league, they can't take anybody on your bench. They can only take starter players, and they can't take your lock players. You got 2 lock players, and then they can only take off from your starting side and not off the bench. So I put Mbuka up there and put JSN down on my bench because I knew I was going to lose anyways.
Yeah.
I thought with Evans back that Mbuka wasn't going to have a big game, and I'd rather have JSN because I just think Mbuka now with Evans out, it could be about the same. But I think Darnold's, really giving him a lot of volume. So those leagues are fun. The bracket leagues I'm in are kind of cool. We'll see how those play out. You ever played any leagues in the bracket where you play 2 games a week?
No. I've done any bracket leagues before. Yeah.
Scott and Sean, some friends of mine, they got that league. It's a bracket league where you're playing 2 different games, and they keep track of one of them on a spreadsheet, kind of like what you do on your Debbie, and then you play 2 games in the same week. So that's kind of unique format, and be interesting to see where I end up in that league. I don't think I'm doing all that. I think I'm kind of middle of the road on that, but we'll see how once the bracket starts, because it's just like, kind of like your college basketball bracket, only it's, you win, you stay. So,
Gotcha.
You never know. With all these injuries and the way things are going these days, you never know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on, man. Like, and I think we got a big game going on Thursday with the Chargers and Vikings, right?
Oh yeah. We got a Thursday night game coming up, and who's it going to be this week? I think, it's these guys, the Chargers and the Vikings. I don't know where I fall on this one. There's a few players that I was rooting for on the Chargers, but they're all hurt. So same type of thing. A lot of people were liking McCarthy to take over the Vikings, kind of like what Darnold did. And I don't see that really happening. But, yeah, this is the Thursday night game right here. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers, whatever you want to call them. I'm kind of old school between the Redskins and the San Diego Chargers and all that. I kind of like to stay with those names, yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's coming up, and we can lead into the over-unders on that, because I got some over and unders to do on that game. I don't know. It's going to be a tough game because, the Minnesota's defense was supposed to be all that great in a bag of chips. So same thing with the Chargers, but they both haven't been all that great. Herbert's not playing lights out like everybody thought he was going to. The running game is struggling because of all the, Najee being out, Hampton being out. And, Vidal really – what do you think about that young kid, that Vidal kid?
He's good. I'm so mad I gave up on him too early. But, yeah, no, I think he was – yes, I think he's good. Hassan Haskins, I think, is out as well. So, like, the backfield pretty much belongs to him, and I don't have any shares. Like, that's probably one of the things I'm hurt the most about. But, yeah, no, I think he had a good background. He was a workhorse in college, so not a surprise when he's gotten the opportunity. He's taken advantage of it. So excited to see what he does with it for the rest of the year.
I'm excited about that Chargers tight end, that Glaston.
Gatson. Yeah, Rondé. Yeah, his dad used to play in the league too.
I picked up a lot of shares on him. I think it's kind of unique because there was so much talk about this rookie year tight ends, and Fan and Warren. Loveland, all these guys, Gatson, Helm, all these guys, Rowe, all these guys that came in are all great tight ends. And some of them are playing a lot of ball right now. I mean, these rookie tight ends, it's an amazing class for tight ends.
Yeah, I think we have to reevaluate how, because I think a lot of times it felt like at least each year we kind of fade the tight end position, as far as in rookie drafts. But like that, it's something to consider because, like I said, even like the Gatson, the writing was on the wall. Like he was probably one of the best tight ends you could have on your college fantasy teams because he was basically a tight end in name only, right? So like he's the wide receiver that's playing tight end, and he's doing the exact same thing he did at Syracuse. So it's not a surprise. It's like once he got the opportunity, he's been able to take full advantage of it. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for Fannin. I think Njoku is supposed to be out this week, so I think Fannin, and that kid he's pretty powerful tight end, and he's quick. I mean, he's quick, got great hands, and I really look for them to throw to him with a dink and dunk short stuff, and in the red zone, he's an awesome tight end. So I'm excited for him. I think he's going to get some playing time. So be interesting to see what, the trade deadline is going to mix some things up. I think you're going to see some people move that aren't. So, all that great. So we're going to get into a little bit of the over-unders that Jimbo played last week because I told you guys I would do this segment. And we'll start off with this one. Metcalf. I had Metcalf going for more than the 58.5, and on this one right here, I was wrong. Jimbo was wrong. Metcalf only had 50 yards. So, with that said, the next one was – what do we have here? The next one, we'll get these out of the way. All right, this one here, Jimbo's had Aaron Rodgers over 28 or 218 and a half. He went over that. I was right on that one. He had 249. On the Flacco one, unfortunately, I was wrong. I thought it was going to be close for Flacco. On the 235, I chose the under on that, and I was wrong. And Flacco, I think, proved a whole lot of people wrong. And I think he lost a whole lot of people some money. And he ended up going for 342 yards. What did you think about that game, Jay?
Man, I thought that it was watching you ever remember that movie Cocoon? With the old guy? That's what it felt like watching those guys play. But it was awesome because I think I also had very, very low doubts as far as what Flacco was going to be able to do. Just coming into a new team, but then you watch the game, you're like, oh yeah, but he has some of the best wide receivers to throw to. Right in the league. So all he has to do is pretty much put it in the place that they can make plays at. They're going to make plays, and that's exactly what they did. So excited to see what he does with that talent for the rest of the year. So it's a light years ahead of the wide receiver room that he had. And
can you imagine being him sitting in Cleveland and being told, "Hey, dude, we're trading you to Cincinnati"? What do you think he did, man? I bet he's I bet he went home, took his wife to dinner and everything else. And damn, I get to throw to these guys, man. What more excitement could you ask than that?
Exactly. Life is taking a dramatic turn for the best. So.
And then we had another one. This one here was Noah Fant, who I thought would have a good game. He did. I was right on this one. He was predicted the over-under on him was 26.5, and Fant ended up going for 44, so had a pretty good game. He's the only man in town right now. The rest of them are all on IR or hurt, so we were right on that one. So Jimbo's gets win you some money on that one. And see, who'd we have next? We had okay, here's the big one that I really was really was not on the money on. He still had a good game though. Anyways, he had a good game touchdown wise. I didn't bet on the touchdowns. Judkins, he was a three-prong hot take for me last week. I had this cat going for 148 yards, and he didn't. And he was scheduled to go for 84.5 on the over-under prediction by Prize Picks. And guess what? If you didn't have the hook, it would have been there. It would have been a push, but he had 84 yards, so I was wrong on that. He had 84 yards. What a bummer. That was a close one there. I also predicted on that he was going to push the coach for roll over the Dolphins and push the coach into firing McDaniels. Cleveland actually won, which was the second part of my hot take, so I got that part right. The firing of McDaniels I thought would happen this week. It has not happened. Jay, talk to me about McDaniels. What do you think about that Miami Dolphins coach?
I think that he is a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. He doesn't give me the impression that I would want to follow him. Seems like a good guy all around, but I don't think he's a leader of men, as Teddy Bruschi said. That was a bad loss. And like I said, Tua has been talking about things that have been going on behind the scenes. So I think they're having a failure in leadership, both for the head coach, but then also from the quarterback. It's just, and then like I said, Tyreek Hill's injured. So I feel like that team is going to implode. So I don't think you were wrong on your assessment that he's going to get fired. I just think that it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
All right. So now that Callahan's gone, Dayball at the Giants, I think, got his ass saved by Scadaboo. And
Dart. Yeah, he loves Dart too much. Yeah,
so I don't think he's going anywhere real quick. I cannot believe Jim Harbaugh would lose his job, or John Harbaugh, excuse me, if the Ravens would lose his job. Do you think McDaniels makes it through the year?
Absolutely not.
Or you think they launch him before the end of the year?
I think that he's a trash can, and I think he's going to be gone sooner. Right? Like he's going to be gone. Like I don't think he makes it. I'd be surprised if he makes it through Thanksgiving.
What about the Cardinals coach?
That's one. Okay, so I think he'll make it through the year, but I think he gets fired at the end of the season.
Okay, so you're looking at 2 more firings for sure.
At the very least. Yeah, at the very least.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about this week and the Thursday night game. And we're going to do a little Jimbo's hot takes here. And we're going to talk about – who do we want to talk about first? Jimbo? Jimbo. Let's pick it out.
Better be right about this, Jimbo.
All right. Let's find it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm not as quick on the button. There's a lot of people on this. I get computer. There we go. Let's talk about this. All right, we got Johnson, who has been up and down like a roller coaster out there with the Chargers. We got Addison for the Vikings. We got Jefferson for the Vikings, and we got Ladd McConkey, who's had a real rough start to his season now that they brought Keenan Allen in. What did you think about Keenan Allen coming in and joining that wide receiver room, Jay?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I think he is a route running savant. And so, like, I think he does what Ladd does, but I think with just a little bit more, like, experience and skill. But I think, like, as the season progresses, Ladd's going to get his opportunities. I don't really know Keenan to be able to make it through the whole season. But, yeah, but I think he was a great addition to the team. Like, it sucks if you're a Ladd McConkey owner, but I think I think he's been balling out.
All right, I'm going to say that I'm going to say Johnson goes over the 49.5. I'm going to say Addison does not go over. I'm going to take the under on the 53.5 for Addison. Jefferson, wow, that's a big number. Wentz is quarterbacking this week. McCarthy's still out. I'm gonna say Jefferson goes over the 80.5, and I'm gonna say Ladd McConkey goes under the 54.5. What do you say about these four, Jay?
I would say let's keep an eye on Carson Wentz because he may be questionable with the shoulder, and then they were talking about starting a guy I've never heard of before. So if that is the case, then this is for not. But if Wentz starts, I think that'd be a good call. But we definitely have to keep an eye out on Wentz's availability for practice this week.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to be a close game. I see Jones is on his way back there. He's. I think he might be at practice this week.
Yeah, because Jordan Mason's been doing a lot of Jordan Mason things. He gets you really excited, and then he kind of fades because he just doesn't have the talent. But yeah, I think Aaron Jones. I'm glad that he'd be able to come back and give us what's left in the tank for him for the rest of the season. So.
I didn't look for him to be back that quick. I see checking in chat. We got some friends out there. We got Lisa out there. We got Trader Clem out there. We got some of our local friends here in town from the radio station on in there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. They don't let me use their names, man. Soon. But anyways, yeah, they like to stay anonymous. But anyways, that's kind of cool. Appreciate you guys showing up in chat. You guys can like and subscribe. Those are always fun things to do for us. If you would, we like the like and subscribe button. Hit that and give us a little kudos. All right, let's see what our next move is going to be here. All right, we're going to deep dive a little bit. And for fun, I'm going to put this back over here. And I'm going to put it over here. Let's do that. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a little deep dive on a team that I've been watching. And I was going to get your opinion on this, Jay. What do you think about this cat? I mean, he was great draft value. If you were drafting Daniel Jones, definitely got a deal on him this year. What do you think about Indianapolis Colts? And talk to me a little bit about Daniel Jones. What do you think?
Oh man, so I am a Daniel Jones believer. I'm not surprised. I thought when he came to Indianapolis, I thought it was a great opportunity. I was grabbing as many shares as I could because I knew he was going to take the position away from Anthony Richardson. So not really surprised. I mean, he's like I said, he's not the best quarterback of all time by any stretch of the imagination. But I think he's a smart guy. He went to Duke, so again, he's right in between the years. And he's made plays, man. He's made dumb plays, but he's also made some really, really good plays. So, and he's got a lot of talent. He's got Jonathan Taylor behind him that hand the football too. When you have a running back like that, it just makes your life a lot easier. He's got a strong wide receiver core with Pittman and Josh Downs. So, and then he's got Tyler Warren, and he's like I said, that usage in the preseason got me super, super excited to see what they were going to do this year, and it hasn't disappointed. So I'm not surprised by any stretch of the imagination that he's having actually a revitalized career type of year with the Colts.
I like how his running ability is strong. He's a big quarterback. I think a lot of people forget how big this guy is. He's a big quarterback. Yeah. And when he runs the football, he runs with authority. He's not the quickest guy in the world, but he's not afraid to drop his shoulder down and run you over either. Mm-hmm. So I like his talent. He's not an explosive type guy that, is going to set the world on fire. And he's not a Mahomes type, flashy type quarterback. But what I have liked to see is the stability and the consistency he's done this year. And, when you give him a supporting cast like, they have given him, I mean, these guys, this offensive line, I'm telling you guys, what I like about this whole success story of this team so far this year is there ain't nobody Not one some bitch had this team on the radar to be doing what they're doing. Not nobody. And what I think is really cool about it is the coaching staff stayed true to what they were doing. Daniel Jones had the opportunity every chance he had at the mic, and he didn't take it. He stayed low key, stayed humble. And, you know, I just really, really think this team has got some good, solid, you know, coaching staff. They got a new defensive coordinator. The head coach is a great guy. And I really like what these guys are doing. This offensive line is no joke, Jay. I mean, this offensive line is a good offensive line.
Yeah, and the division isn't that tough. You know, I mean, the division is not one of the stronger divisions in football in the AFC. So I think they got some opportunities to do some really cool things this year.
Yeah, even the teams they've been up against. But when you got a guy like this in your backfield, I mean, this guy's having a great season. Now, let's be honest. JT's had his share of injuries that let a lot of us fantasy players down at times, you know, with his ankle problems and whatnot. But, you know, this guy stayed solid and running behind this offensive line. This guy is leading the NFL, I think, right now. I know he was last week. This guy is a stud running back right now. And if you got this guy in your fantasy team, he is getting you some points. I know he scored me like 34 points this week. Yeah.
But I have him and Christian McCaffrey on the team. I don't even know how I pulled it off, but we're crushing it right now.
Yeah, this is definitely, you know, when I was really thinking about a team I wanted to talk about this week, these guys really stuck out because, you know, I'm a big Bucs fan. I'm a big Raiders fan. The Raiders are letting me down, not only in fantasy, but my heart's getting ripped out. You know, the Bucs, I'm right here in town watching the Bucs, and I just, you know, if you look at the play when Evans went out with the collarbone issue and was out, just the look on Baker Mayfield's face, it's like the air just was let out of the balloon. And Baker wasn't the same the rest of the game. As soon as he knew Evans was out for the rest of the game, he was not the same quarterback as he was when he started that game. Now, did I expect the Bucs to win that game? No, I hope they could. Did I think they could win the game? Yes, I thought they could. Did I really believe they were going to win it? No. But it just seems like when Evans went out, I think there was so much hope and promise that Evans was coming back. And when he went out that quick in that game, I think it just took all the energy out of the whole Bucs team. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would even say like the stadium, because I mean, Mike Evans is a staple on that team. He's got 1,000 yards after 1,000 yard receiving season.
He ain't gonna get it this year.
He's not gonna get it this year, and so I think it's just gonna be. And then, like I said, Godwin's been in and out of the lineup too, coming back from the ankle. So it's like it's just they're going through a lot. So I'll be interested to see, like, because I believe in Baker. I think Baker's been a really, really solid quarterback. I think Cleveland gave up on him way, way too early. So you know, but it gives a lot of opportunity to young guys to make some plays. You know, hopefully Ibuka can get healthy this week. You know, but then they got Tez Morgan coming as well. So like they got some young guys. So it's just going to be up to Baker and those guys to make some plays. And then like I said, Bucky's hurt, so they're hurting from a lot of different places. But whoever's on the field, they got to make some plays.
Yeah, I'm gonna break the flow up and what we just shifted into the Bucs, but I gotta finish up my Indy thing. I would feel so bad if I didn't. All right, if you don't have this football card, y'all, you better start buying all the freaking gum you can buy and get this guy's rookie card, because I'm telling you what, this cat is on his way to the Hall of Fame already. His rookie year, what this kid has given Daniel Jones. He's given him all kinds of opportunities. He's given him opportunity out of the backfield. He's given him opportunity in the flat on short passes. He's given him red zone. He's given this guy could actually substitute for Daniel Jones if he needed to take a breath and throw the football. Jay, this guy, I think between JT, this guy, that offensive line, there's talk that these guys are Super Bowl worthy. Now, I don't know, but I like this cat right here. What do you think about Tyler Warren?
Oh, I love Tyler Warren. I love the fact that you could see coach see how talented a guy is in college, and then kind of try to mirror his usage in the NFL, because that's kind of what you're seeing. You're seeing like things you were describing, it's just how he was used at Penn State. and like they're so super, super talented. I was watching this a clip yesterday about when they drafted him, and like inside the war room, they looked like they were going to cry as far as like the happiness of being able to get the guy. So they, as a team, you can see them really, really believing in the talent. So again, not a surprise at all. And like, so I'm just excited to see like his usage continue to increase. He's been a solid player. If you picked him up in fantasy, you're really happy to have him on your roster.
I see we got some more visitors out there. Kyle's out there in chat trying to stir up some shit. Yeah. Trader Clem, like I said, is out there. Nice. See the guys out there. Calman from work, he's out there. You guys are cool, man. I appreciate you guys showing up in chat. And Jay, it's been so great having you back, man. I can't tell you how much I missed you, man. I appreciate your presence on the show and everything that we've talked about going forward on the show and what we're going to do going forward. So what do you got in closing? You got anything in closing you want to talk about?
Like I said, let's just continue to see kind of how the season plays out, man, and excited just to continue to talk Devy, talk college, talk NFL. Like we got some really cool things planned for our viewers and listeners, man. So just stay with us for the ride and buckle up because we're gonna have a good time. All
right, man. I really, really appreciate you being on the show. And guys, I just wanted to chime in there. We had our Tailgater Deluxe go down this week. It was a fun time. We had a great time with that we're going to be starting up as a charity. That's going forward. A lot of things in the mix. My wife's getting involved. Her friends are getting involved. We're kind of making a family deal out of it. We got a lot of things happening. And one other thing I wanted to tell you guys about, try to tap into the Fantasy Football Expo, guys. That looks to be fun. And we are going to Daily Fantasy Advisor is planning on getting a booth out there. I know some other guys that are planning on getting a booth. I got a buddy that already had a booth out there this week or this year, Dennis. It looks like that's going down in July, which is a little bit earlier than what it was this last year. But, I think that expo is going to be cool. And, the Fantasy Expo has their own Discord also, guys. So get on there. I got on their Discord, and I was surprised at the things that they do for fantasy players. Not just people in the industry and vendors and all that, but they do a lot for the players. So there is a player, following for the expo. Get involved in that if you guys are really, really into fantasy, and maybe we can, all get out there and go and have a good time out there. I'm looking forward to it. I've been trying to break bread with those guys and hang out with them a little bit, virtually online, and getting to know some of them has been kind of cool, and all of that. So again, I want to thank, Inner Circle Entertainment for, bringing this to you guys, making it available for us. And I want to thank Steve and Nikki again at Premier Properties. And Jay, I want to thank you again. You're not going to be here next week, right?
No, I'll be back in Vegas.
Man, it's like injured. Man, it's like a injured reserve when you're gone, man. I'm like, who the hell do I bring in? But you know what? We love you when you are here. Thank you very much for being on the show. And we are saying good night. Y'all have a good night. See you later, Jay.
See you later. Bye, Jabo.
All right.